This watch, I got here, was first purchased by your great-grandfather during the First World War. It was bought in a little general store in Knoxville, Tennessee. Made by the first company to ever make wristwatches. Up till then, people just carried pocket watches. It was bought by Private Doughboy Orion Coolidge on the day he set sail for Paris. This was your great-grandfather's war watch, and he wore it every day he was in that war. He'd done his duty, went home to your great-grandmother, took the watch off in an old coffee can, and in that can it stayed. Till your granddad, Dane Coolidge, was called upon by his country to go overseas and fight the Germans once again. It's time to call it World War II. Great-grandfather gave this watch to your granddad for good luck. Unfortunately, Dane's luck wasn't as good as his old man's. Dane was a Marine, and he was killed, along with all the other Marines at the Battle of Wake Island. Granddad was facing death. He knew it. None of those boys had any illusions, but they were leaving that island alive, so 3 days before the Japanese took the island, your granddad asked a gunner on an Air Force transport named Wanaki, man he'd never met before in his life, to deliver to his infant son, we'd never seen in flesh, his gold watch. 3 days later, your granddad was dead, but Wanaki kept his word. After the war was over, he paid a visit to your grandmother, delivering to your infant father his dad's gold watch. This watch. This watch was on your daddy's wrist when they were shot down at Hanoi. He was captured, put in a Vietnamese prison camp. He knew that if the Gooks ever saw the watch, it'd be confiscated, taken away. The way your dad looked at it, this watch was your birthright. He'd be damned if any slope's gonna put the greasy yellow hands on his boy's birthright, so he hid it. In one place he knew he could hide something, his ass. 5 long years he wore this watch, up his ass. Then he died of dysentery. He gave me the watch. I hid this uncomfortable hunk of metal up my ass 2 years. And after 7 years, I was sent home to my family. Little man, I gave the watch to you.
And I just kind of wanted to hop on here. I noticed that I was having some technical issues the last time I streamed. We were kind of in a rock and a hard place and trying to get some stuff to work, so I was just going to try to jump on and see if I could work some kinks out. And I figured what better way to do that than do just a quick stream. I don't really know what I'm going to do, but I figured, why not? Let's get the cameras rolling and see what we can do. So yeah, I thought maybe we could talk about some comic books. I don't know. We could talk about sports. It was definitely a really weird week. A lot of divisional games. Let's see if I can pull up some stuff. Let's see if we can find any little sports tap things to talk about. So, one cool thing, I made the playoffs in both my fantasy leagues. Ended up having my biggest game of the year, where I scored 156 points. It's a non-PPR league, so that's really good. 154. Anytime you go over 120, that's typically a really good game. Yeah, so I was really happy. I've got like CeeDee Lamb and Mark Andrews. They both had... CeeDee Lamb didn't have the best game, but Mark Andrews did have a really good game, and that was even after Lamar Jackson got hurt. Like, he went out like within the first couple of series. So, I was happy about that. Who else had a big game? Tyler Lockett. Um, that guy has been really hit or miss, but he seemed to have gotten a lot better, and just plays better in general when Russell Wilson's throwing the ball. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, and I was just kind of bored, so I figured I'd hop on here. So what happened in the wide world of sports last week? I'm trying to find like a site that just shows like all the stats of the games, and I thought maybe we could kind of talk about some of them and what happened. But I'm having difficulty with that. NFL games. Let's see. NFL games. What was it? Week 14. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. So we can start with the Buccaneers, which I think my head is like kind of blocking this. Okay, there we go. So like the Buccaneers played really well throughout the whole game, and it wasn't really till the end where Buffalo kind of started to come on a little bit. Tom Brady at the end of that game, man. Like, you give Tom Brady the ball back with just a little bit of time left. It doesn't really matter if he's. It just doesn't matter, right? Like, if it's a score that he's got to get, he's gonna get it. I've been watching him do that now for like 10 years. Since I started watching football, I've basically been a fan of Tom Brady. It's funny. Like, the first year I watched football, I was like. I live near Atlanta, and so I was like, I'm going to be a Falcons fan. I'm going to support the home team. And so then I watched football, and I was like, there's no way I can't be a Tom Brady fan. And so that was 2011, I think. And so I immediately started watching the Patriots and followed him the whole time there, watched him win a couple Super Bowls, watched him lose a couple Super Bowls, and now, I'm watching Tampa Bay all the time. But it was awesome. It was totally awesome. He played a great game, and then wins it at the end in typical Tom Brady fashion. They did lean on Leonard Fournette, just like I said they would. He had a very good game. He had almost 20 points, I think, in fantasy. So I was really happy with that. I'm pretty sure he went over 100 yards, too, which is fucking great. Let's see, what else? So I was dead wrong on this one. The 49ers beat the Bengals. I was dead certain that the Bengals were going to win. Didn't shake out that way. This one, I felt like the score is not too indicative of what actually happened in the game as far as the Giants and the Chargers game. The Giants kind of hung in there with them for a while, and like I said on the last sports show, I felt like they have a good defense and they can play against a lot of different people. So their offense just isn't great, and the Chargers were gonna win that game regardless. So another one I was dead wrong on. Well, I wasn't quite dead wrong. I did say the Packers were gonna win. But I was also hyper confident that David Montgomery was going to get leaned on more than he did. And I think that while the Bears still put up 30 points, which is way more than I thought they would, they did not lean on David Montgomery. He did not have a touchdown. He did not go over 60 yards. And I don't know. I don't know what you're supposed to do about that. It's weird. It's weird because he's kind of all that's there. I mean, I guess you have Mooney, Justin Fields actually played. I don't know. Rams, Cardinals. Another weird one, man. There were so many weird games where it just shook out the opposite way. Maybe I kind of underestimated some of these opponents. The Rams win. Who would have thought? I feel like the Cardinals are a great team, but maybe they They haven't quite gotten it together. I don't know. Odell Beckham had a decent game. You know, it seems like he's really they're really going out of their way to get Odell Beckham the ball. And so I guess that's why you go and get that guy and pay him all that money. I've never been a huge Odell Beckham fan. I've always kind of thought he was kind of overrated. But he played well. I think he's out this coming week because he's got COVID. That has just been the nightmare of the NFL this year. It's COVID is freaking everywhere, right? Like, it'll just pop up out of nowhere. You have guys like Darrell Henderson, who is major in the fantasy world this year, and he didn't play. And there were a few other guys like that throughout the year. Nick Chubb, Aaron Rodgers, Antonio Brown. All get that little COVID designation, and you're screwed. It seemingly can happen to anybody, too. You know, last year when all this started, like this whole COVID thing, and I was playing last year, I was like, all right, well, who's a guy that is known for his health, right? And so I targeted Tom Brady hard. I was like, this guy, you know, eats walnuts for breakfast, avocado sandwiches. You know, Tom Brady, he's really focused on his health, and he stayed healthy all year. He didn't get COVID. You know, and now with the vaccine thing, you've got players that, you know, say they were vaccinated, they're actually not vaccinated, and then they'll get suspended for that. I think that's what happened to Antonio Brown. So, I mean, it's just, there's some weird stuff going on when it comes to the COVID. The thing with the COVID, though, is it doesn't really seem, at least in the NFL, I'm not saying it isn't serious, and I know people have died from it, but, like, in the NFL, it seems like they get it, and they're out for 3 days or whatever, and if you hope they don't get it on a Thursday, because then they're going to be out on Sunday. But then they come back and they're totally fine. I don't think there's been a real case where like it kept somebody from playing like long term. At least one, I'm not aware of it. What else do we have? So that was a total blowout, right? Titans beating the Jags. I think I predicted that it was going to be a blowout game. I thought the Jags might score some points, but they did not. And they are out of the playoffs. They have no hope. Urban Meyer was the guy that I was talking about on the podcast last week, that he was getting twerked on. And he got busted for that. I don't think he's a very good coach. I think maybe he was fine in college. I don't watch a whole lot of college football, so I really wouldn't know. But everybody talked about him like he was the bee's knees. I don't even know who he coached for. Then they hyped that kid up there too, the quarterback, Trevor Simeon, or I don't know what the guy's name is. What is the quarterback back for Jacksonville? Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, they hyped this kid up like he was the next coming. And he was supposed to be better than Peyton Manning. He's better than Andrew Luck. Well, he sucked this year. He was not very good at all. And granted, the Jags are terrible, right? Like, they're a really bad organization in general. They've got bad coaching. They've got no skill positions. They just suck. So it didn't do him any favors going there. He's got nobody to throw the ball to. They refused to run it with Allen Robinson, which I don't understand to save my life. Like, if I had Allen Robinson, I'd be running the hell out of him. I don't know. I don't know what happened to this guy. I think his nickname was Sunshine. He was supposed to be really good. He wasn't. Who knows? Who knows? Trevor Lawrence. Not that great. Maybe he'll be better next year. You know, because what's even weirder about that situation is, like, he made this big stink last year that he wasn't going to play for the Jets. But then you go to Jacksonville? How is that any better? I mean, I literally all year in fantasy, like, my strategy for defense was play a defense that's playing against Houston, play a defense that's playing against Jacksonville, play a defense that's playing against the Jets. And I've done pretty well so far doing that. And I've watched some of my opponents started catching on and doing the same thing, you know? So, who knows? Jacksonville Jaguars are trash, man. They're not a good team. Yeah, we're doing it here on the witching hour with Tim. So Harold and I have been talking about writing a book, maybe a movie, maybe turning it into a movie. We've been playing around with that idea. Might see what comes of it at some point. You know, I thought a great guy to play me, Keanu Reeves. That's right. That's right, boys and girls. I think Keanu, however the hell you say it, I think he'd be a good Tim Oceans. And obviously, Harold, he's got to be Nicolas Cage, right? That'd be a kick-ass movie, man. You put Keanu Reeves and Nicolas Cage in the same film. Did that ever happen? Is there a movie with Keanu Reeves and Nicolas Cage in it? I don't think there is. That's gold. You can have that one for free, Hollywood. I gave that to you. I don't know. Anyway, it's an idea we're throwing around. So, yeah. Anyway, let's keep looking at these games here. What else do we have? Raiders, Chiefs, Jesus. That was a blowout. Yeah, the Chiefs are back to being the Chiefs again. It only took them 8 weeks, but yeah, suddenly they look great. They look great again. They look playoff bound. You had the Ravens against the Browns. I think I took the Ravens, and the Browns, man, they put it on them. They didn't really put them on them. It was a tight game. I think it came down to the wire, and they just couldn't quite get Justin Tucker into field goal range at the end. Which, that's the thing, man. If you get Justin Tucker within 60 yards, you've got a chance to win that game. You've got a good chance to win that game. Justin Tucker is the number one kicker in the NFL. Maybe he isn't stat-wise, but from an ability side, there's like if I was drafting a kicker and I had my pick of all the kickers in the NFL, dude, how can you go wrong with that guy? Harrison Buckner for the Chiefs is really good, too. Seahawks-Texans, yeah, everybody knew that was going to be a blowout. Seahawks look good in that game, too. They look so much better with Russell Wilson. Nobody gives Russ the credit, I feel like, that he deserves. I mean, when Russell Wilson's healthy and, like, playing well, like, dude, nobody's better than Russell Wilson. He's as good as anybody, you know, and he's got those same abilities that Lamar Jackson has, except Russell Wilson is a better passer. Like, but Russell Wilson can run too. But I mean, I wouldn't think of Russell Wilson as like a run first quarterback by any means. He's just mobile. Like, he's kind of like Aaron Rodgers in that sense. You know, Aaron just has size, like a major size advantage on him. Like, he can actually see over the line, whereas Russell Wilson's kind of a midget. But I don't think you can say that. That'll probably get me kicked off Twitch. A little person. Russell Wilson is a little person. Yeah, the Falcons-Panthers. Yeah, I think we took the Falcons to win in that one. And did it go over 50 points? Yeah, it did. No, it was at 50 points. So I think it was 49.5, and we took over 49.5. So it did. We got that one right. Lions-Broncos. Yeah, they suck. Cowboys look pretty good. Zeke Elliott looks like he's pretty good. Like, he's kind of bounced back. He was kind of struggling there for a bit this season, but he's back on track. Steelers-Vikings, that one had already happened before we did the show, and the Steelers, like, they can kind of play with anybody, but like, it seems like whenever they get matched up against an opponent that's just better, like, they lose. You'll have a lot of games that come down to the wire with the Steelers, and I feel like that's because they've got such a great run game to like fall back on with Najee Harris. Yeah, that kid's awesome, right? Like, just comes out and just looks lights out. Like, he's just a bell cow running back. It's kick ass, man. The Saints trounced the Jets. Fuck the Jets. Goddamn Jets. The goddamn Jets. Can we watch that? Am I allowed to, like, commentate on that? I don't know. I hate these fucking Twitch rules, man. The goddamn Jets. Like, everybody, that's just like a classic line. It's, Adam Sandler. It's like Big Daddy. The goddamn Jets. Dude, man, I really want to bring it up. Like, I want to bring it up and watch it, but I don't know if I can. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I think we talked about all these games, so I'm good with it. I mean, I'm not good with it. I'm surprised by more than a couple. This one I'm surprised by. I did not expect the 49ers to win. I didn't think the 49ers were, like, even good. But I think that they have a good coach, and so I guess they can win games, too. They got Deebo Samuel, who's an awesome wide receiver. And this one really surprised me just because I get it. I'm not trying to downplay. Like, the Rams have a good defense, like a very good defense. But I kind of felt like the Cardinals were just balanced, you know? They had good... Not only do they have a good defense, but they have a good offense too. And so, like, a very good offense, like prolific offense. And so I was really surprised they couldn't get it done, especially with a score that tight, like where it's within one score. I don't know. I didn't really watch that game because I had already won my matchup, and so I was just happy like that I got into the playoffs. So I didn't really watch that one, but I watched a lot of these on Sunday. So. But yeah, we got some. This will be a playoff week for a lot of teams, I would assume. This is how we schedule in both my leagues, my PPR league and my standard scoring league. Like, it's playoff week, so I did not clinch a bye in either one. So it's win them all or go home for the rest of the year, and then I'll just play the dailies or something. I don't know. I like my team. I've got Leonard Fournette. I've got Nick Chubb. This is in my main standard league. Who's my third? David Montgomery. And so I love my three running backs. Wide receivers, I've got Tyler Lockett, who's just consistent as hell. And like when Russell's there, he seems to just be great. CeeDee Lamb, who's been really awesome to watch this year, especially a second-year guy like that. He just seems to have all the talent in the world. He's no Tyreek Hill, but who is, right? Tyreek Hill is just like this one-of-a-kind talent. If I just had to watch one player every single week, dude, I'm taking Tyreek Hill every single week. I mean, the guy's so fast. He's just so damn fast. It's awesome. And he's got such tremendous ability. I mean, I think that if Tyreek Hill stays healthy, with the pace he's on, he could be talked about like Jerry Rice. I mean, 10 years from now, I don't see the guy going away anytime soon. And, you know, I've never had him in fantasy, but I've admired him from afar now for years. I can never seem to get him. Like, he always goes before I pick, and it's generally in the first round too. And so I don't know. There was one opportunity where I had to take him, and I took Josh Jacobs instead. I was so sold on Josh Jacobs, and I thought, oh, I love this guy. He's Mr. Fundamental. Like, Josh Jacobs, I think, is a good football player, but he ain't no Tyreek Hill. I mean, Tyreek Hill's ceiling is like endless, and his consistency is off the charts. I think he had kind of a clunker this week, but that's so rare for him. And like a clunker for him is still like 8 points, which isn't bad. He's so fast. Like, I've never seen a guy like that play football. Like, and that, like, you'll see guys that are fast, but like you couple the ability that he has with how fast he is, and it's like, holy shit, man, it's lights out. There's nothing else like that in football, And I was kind of thinking about it, like there are so few players, like young players, that I would consider like some of the greatest players. Like to me, Adrian Peterson is kind of like one of the greatest running backs to ever play. Like he's in there like with Emmitt Smith and like God, what was the Brown? I don't know. It was something Brown. Like he was a running back for Cleveland. John Brown, maybe. I don't know, but Adrian Peterson is like that upper echelon, LaDainian Tomlinson type running back, where it's just like you got to see him play every single week. And there's really, there was a time in the league where there was like 4 or 5 guys like that, and now there's just Derrick Henry. Like not to take anything away from like Taylor, who's a great running back, or Najee Harris, or Nick Chubb. Like these are all phenomenal guys, but like, are they like Emmitt Smith? Like, are they that level? Are they that upper echelon? Like, can you tell me honestly that like you could compare Dalvin Cook to Emmitt Smith? I don't think you can. And the same goes for the wide receivers. And so Tyreek Hill, to me, kind of feels that like he could be that guy. He's consistently been that guy. He plays on a great team. He gets all the opportunities in the world. If I ran the Kansas City Chiefs, I'd be targeting the shit out of him. I mean, as much as I can get the ball to him, because he's just, nobody can guard that guy. He's so fast. He's going to burn whoever he's up against. You've got to double cover him, and even that's not good enough most of the time. Most of the time, he can beat both guys. There's nobody else that can do that in the league. Not and catch the ball. I don't know. I love Tyreek Hill. I think he's phenomenal. Derrick Henry, I feel that way too. I think that, and Henry's stat line, I think Henry's still like the 5th ranked running back. He almost hit 1,000 yards in 8 games, and he hasn't played since week 8, and he's still the 5th ranked running back. Like, that's unbelievable too. Derrick Henry, Tyreek Hill, Tom Brady, obviously. Those 3 guys are like, I think for my money, like skill position wise, like those are like the top 3 guys in the NFL on offense anyway. There's great defensive players too. Aaron Donald is obviously lights out, but those 3 guys are awesome. I would take those 3 guys almost over anybody in the NFL. It's just me. I don't know. Yeah, so I just kind of wanted to get on here, do a test, see what it's like. I was having some major audio problems, and I couldn't really hear myself. I could hear Harold fine, but me, I don't know what was going on. It was weird. Oh man, what's going on with me? I don't know. Store's coming together, so that's nice. Got that going for me. What's new and different in the comic book world? Not a whole lot. There's some really cool. So there's a great comic book line that's current right now. It's kind of taking a little break, but for my money, it's probably like the best independent comic book line out, and it's called Something is Killing the Children. So this is a great read. It is absolutely awesome. I hate to go ahead and like peg it down, but I think this is like the next Walking Dead. I think once this, which it's already been picked up for a show on Netflix, I believe. But once people see this and like see what it's about, they're going to be like, oh my God, this is incredible. And it really is. Like, it's a great story. It has a great hero, female, strong female lead, which is, so rare. Like, you get so few of those. And it's truly like, she's like a Rick Grimes, like where you're like rooting for this chick the whole time. She's freaking awesome, man. I dig it. I really dig it. And this is a great comic to speculate on right now too. I think that there are a couple copies that have already sold for like $700 or more, and in any collectible type thing, you'll see ups and downs. But I think that like this one in particular has a lot of room to grow, especially like I said, once people actually see the TV show and like how kick-ass the story is. There's going to be a lot of desire for this book. Um, let's see. Yeah, so this is issue 1. This is what issue 1 looks like, and let's see if we can pull it up. Oh no, that's Amazon. Oh well. Damn Amazon. I just wanted to look at the picture. Anyway, it's got great art. It's got a great story. I really like it a lot. I think it's going to continue to do well. So, yeah, Erica Slaughter, man. That's the lead character here. She's great. And like some of the covers are really cool. I think it's like issue number 5. That's like one of my favorite covers for like modern books. Yeah, this cover. Let's try to find one that's like not on Amazon so I can like blow it up a little bit. That's still not great. But yeah, I love this art. The color to it, like just the way she's like positioned, like coming down on the monster like that. That's so rad, man. I actually I thought about having like an artist because my store is still under construction right now. Like we're just in the process of like finishing everything, and I thought about having an artist come in and actually paint this cover on the wall. But then I kind of thought about it, and I was like, if we ever move or something, like it'd be way cooler to like have a giant print of it, like a big flag or something. That'd be sweet. And you could just like take it on and off the wall. And so like my idea is I want to take iconic comic book covers and like do these huge banners, and like I've got this one gigantic wall that I'm going to put all my new comics on every week. And so I'm going to have it take up the whole wall. And I think I measured it out, and it'll fit like if I scale it, it'll fit like with the size I'm kind of thinking in my head. I can get 4 or 5 of these gigantic covers, and so I was gonna pick some of my favorite comics and maybe like a couple really iconic comics, like maybe like a Amazing Spider-Man 300, which that's to me that's just like comic book gold. Let's pull that shit up. Amazing Spidey 300. Oh, that's not great. That's not great either. Maybe this one. There we go. Yeah, man. You got the classic McFarlane art. You gotta love that, right? The webs. It's so sweet. I dig that image. I think it would look great on like a big banner, for sure. Yeah, so that's definitely one I was thinking of. This one. What's another one? It's like that. There's like I can't remember what issue it is, but there's an issue of Detective Comics. 27. Yeah, this is classic. This is definitely one like if I don't do any other covers, like I'm going to do this cover. Like, and I haven't like decided like, do I have an artist come in and paint this thing on a wall that like if I ever move it's gonna stay there, or do I just get these huge banners printed out and like they're like waving behind the comics? I don't know. I think that would be really cool. This is just such a classic cover. It's awesome. And so those are kind of the three. Like, I'm not a huge Batman fan either, but like this cover is just so iconic. Like, you gotta love that, right? Like, and it just screams like comic book store. Like, can't you just see that? Behind some shit in a comic book store. Just screams comic book store to me. So that's one. That's one. Um, Detective Comics. So those three are kind of like my top choices. I like Giant Size X-Men. Yeah, that's a classic cover. Let me pull that one up. I mean, how do you not love that cover? That's great. I mean, just wow. That would be killer on a wall. So that's definitely one I would consider. For sure. Love it. It's killer. It's killer. It's a killer find. This is a great comic to invest in too. Um, it's gonna cost you a pretty penny, but I think this comic's got like a ton of room to grow. I think it already has. Like, I remember when I first got into comic books, I was probably, I don't know, I want to say 18 or 19. And I walked into this guy's store and he had one of these on the wall and it wasn't in great condition. And I asked him, I was like, "Hey, how much for that?" And I think he said like $500. And so now I think this thing sells for like $8,000, something somewhere in there. Like, it's absurdly high. Let's see if I can find. Oh no, well that's a 1.8. 1.8. The guy is asking $2,000 for. I'd like to think that I could find a little bit better than 1.8, but I see. I feel like this was higher, like very recently. Okay, so there's a perfect one, right? That is a absolutely perfect giant size X-Men. $70,000. Like, that's absurd. Now, granted, there's probably only a handful of these in existence in this grade, so um, I can kind of understand why it's so high. But that's unbelievable to see something that old in that condition. It's just 1975. God, what a holy grail that is. I love that. That is absolutely awesome. See, but this is not bad. A 7.5, so that's like a very nice copy. Um, and what was he asking for it? Oh wait, where'd it go? Right under $6,000. That's a good buy, if you ask me, man. I'm kind of all over that, really. I just think that this thing's going to continue to go up. I mean, if a 9.8's at $70,000, I mean, holy shit, right? Um, that's killer. You can kind of see. It does look like it's got a couple, like a little spine break here. Like, it kind of looked like the staple might be jacked up right there, and then the corner down here is like it's a little damaged. But overall, like, dude, I mean, I would love to have that book. It's great. It's a holy grail, for sure. Although I will say this, like, this guy did not take the greatest of pictures. Like, dude, if you ask me, if you're gonna list something on eBay for over $1,000, trying to get some high quality images of that thing. I mean, it's gonna help sell it, right? Like, you can't even quite make it out. You can, like I can, but people want to know what they're buying. Yeah, and see, like, I hate the glare. Like, I hate the glare in the middle there. It's awful. You can't really see the top. But that's the thing. If you buy it graded, you know what condition you're getting it in, and so it's a very nice copy for sure. That still just seems so low to me. Like, I would expect this book to be far more than that. But hey, maybe it went down. That's the thing. That's kind of like what I was saying. Like, they go up and down. Um, $70,000. That's just unbelievable. And this guy's actually like, I mean, shit, 2,929 like positives. Like that's impressive. I'm just curious, like, if this is actually ever gonna sell. That price is absurd. I think that's probably like, I mean, how many 9.8s are there? You know? Here's another 9.8, which this seems, and it's signed by fucking Stan Lee. So, like, I think this one is probably way overpriced. I mean, shit, I can't tell you exactly how much it's worth. I know it's worth a shitload, right? But this one's signed by Stan Lee, and it's a verified signature. I would say that this book is probably more valuable than just the raw book, but what do I know? And this is a 9.8 as well. Um, See, I really wish you could like get in there and like really look at it. Yeah, I wish you could blow it up a little bit, but what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Huh? That's funny. I actually have a couple of these. Um, that seems really ridiculous. Like $1,500 for like the little trading card? Are you kidding me? It can't be right. Some of these prices, like you really have to like look at sold listings on eBay to like get an accurate understanding of like what something's actually worth, because then you're gonna see like, oh well, the market, like this guy's asking $2,000 for this thing, but the last one sold for $350. So that'll give you a way closer. And the truth lies in between. Like if I was to price it in the store, I saw one listing for $2,000. I saw another listing that sold for $500. Well, I would probably price it from anywhere from $750 to $1,000. That's kind of where my head is with it anyway. Um, it's kind of what I think, but I don't know. Some things are way easier. Like there's probably like quite a few of these things that have sold, and so you could probably get a really good idea of what they're actually worth. Yeah, so we're just looking at some old X-Men comics. What's another great comic? Another X-Men. 101. Yeah, man. I love this cover. This is just a classic, beautiful cover. Let's see if I can blow it up. This I would put on the wall, like for sure. I think this is the first appearance of Phoenix, who is one of the most underrated comic book characters ever. I mean, Chris Claremont and the Dark Phoenix stuff, like that is just the bomb, man. Love this cover. Everything about it, like just like the art, the content. It's awesome, and it's just classic X-Men. The only way this cover could be better is if Wolverine was on it. Other than that, it's a great cover. Yeah. Well, anyway, I was gonna kind of try to keep it short and sweet. I was really only doing this to test stuff out, and so yeah, I'm gonna sign off. But it was fun. And I'll probably do some more witching hours at some point. At some point, I'm going to come back and play Diablo. But I've only recently gotten like all my stuff set up and like the stream like working. And so, yeah. Anyway, it was cool. It was real. It was fun. I'm probably gonna go to bed. I'll catch everybody on the flip side. Happy holidays. Stay safe out there. This is Tim Oceans logging off. See ya.